Welcome and good evening to our regular meeting of the Board of Education, August 25th, 2020 at the Center Avenue School Library. It is now 7:16. Again, apologies for the late start, but we were in a work session. We ran it a little late. We did figure out, though, in the future, we will let you know when we are running late, okay, on the work session, which is also live. So you can always look at a live work session and see if we're running on time. We do try to stay on time. And I promise you that we will meet our deadline tonight. At this time, I'd like to have Mr. Kilgus lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you stand?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. McNally is monitoring our Board of Ed at eastrockawayschools.org this evening. And if anybody has any public comments they want to make on the agenda item, now's the time to do that. So if you can please, again, go to BOE at eastrockawayschools.org if it's on any of the agenda items. We will have an opportunity later on in the meeting to also read out any of those items. The other thing is that I want to remind you that any of your any concerns that you might have are appropriately addressed with your child's teacher, building principal once school opens. Other general district questions should be directed to Mrs. Ruiz, our superintendent. Matters involving curriculum and instruction should be addressed to Mrs. Heck, and matters involving the budget and facilities should be directed to Mrs. Shrio. Mr. Arouse has created an excellent technology FAQ on the district webpage. If you need any further assistance with technology or have issues with the device, please reach out to him for assistance. At this time, members of the board, if you have any questions regarding the minutes from our August 11th meeting. Questions?
No.
Okay. So, looking now, may I have a motion on agenda item number 4? So moved by Mr. Kilgus, second. Mr. DiMatteo, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? So moved. Acknowledgement of monthly reports and correspondence. This month there were no reports at this point in time. Our monthly June and July will be approved in the September meeting upcoming. Correspondence, we did have 2 correspondence from parents, which we reached back to and took care of those, and the members of the board, I did pass those along to you to make sure you saw those. Okay, I'd like to have Mr. Ruiz come on for our recommendations of the superintendent of schools, agenda item 6.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we're recommending that the board accept the following resignations. Lisa Marie Corsia, a monitor, effective August 11th, 2020. Paula Singer, substitute monitor, effective August 19th, 2020. And Teresa Hempstead, substitute teacher, effective August 3rd, 2020. Also recommending that the board approve a change to the leave of absence requested by Crystal Valentine to be effective September 2nd through September 10th. Also recommending that the board approve a change to the leave of absence requested by Katie Cook to be effective September 2nd through November 6th, 2020. Also recommending that the board approve the request of Heather Figliozzi for an FMLA leave of absence effective October 19th, 2020 through December 14th, 2020. Also recommending that the board approve the appointment of Kristen Scalisi to the position of short-term substitute music teacher effective September 2nd, 2020 through December 4th, 2020 at the per diem salary established by the East Rockaway Board of Education at the non-contractual salary schedule. Also recommending that the board approve a medical leave of absence for Monica O'Kane effective September 2nd, 2020. Recommending that the board approve the appointment of Robert E. Thomas to the position of head custodian 1 effective September 14th, 2020 at the prorated step A annual salary established by the East Rockaway Custodial Unit Agreement. Also recommending that the board approve the appointment of Shanna Purcell to the position of account clerk 12 months effective September 14th, 2020 at the prorated step 1 annual salary established at the East Rockaway Secretaries Association Agreement. Also recommending that the board approve the following temporary assignments at the salary approved by the East Rockaway Board of Ed on the non-contractual salary schedule and that's Joseph Loris, substitute teacher, effective September 8th, Joseph Cohen, substitute teacher, effective September 8th, Richard Hess, substitute teacher, effective September 8th, and Jasmine Herrera Guzman, substitute cleaner, effective upon civil service approval.
Are there any questions on agenda items 6A through I? No. May I have a motion to approve agenda items 6A through I? So moved by Ms. O'Hagan.
Second.
Second by Mr. McNally. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstained? So moved. Moving on. 7. Agenda item 7A. Approve the designation and appointment of the following individuals to serve as COVID-19 health and safety coordinators for the 2020-2021 school year. Lisa J. Ruiz, Superintendent of Schools; James Daly, Director of Facilities; David Barr, Director of Physical Education, Health, and Athletics. Have any questions? Board. I have a motion to approve agenda item 7A.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. DiMatteo,
Second.
second by Mr. Kilgus. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? So moved. Agenda item 7B, approve the health and welfare agreement between East Rockaway USFD and Hempstead UFSD for the health and welfare services for the 2019-2020 school year, and authorize the superintendent and the president of the Board of Education to execute the agreement on behalf of the East Rockaway Board of Education. Are there any questions on 7B? I have a motion to approve agenda item 7B.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. McNally, second.
Second.
By Ms. O'Hagan. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? So moved. 7C, approve the following resolution. Whereas the district has discussed with representatives of Lynbrook Free School District, Lynbrook, entering the cooperative transportation agreement, and the district residents will be transported to the non-public schools they attend in Lynbrook's transportation contractor, Independent Coach Corporation, simultaneous with Lynbrook residents and with the district splitting the monthly fee for such transportation services. And whereas such an agreement is in the best interest of both school districts, and whereas district council has disclosed that they also represent Lynbrook and have accordingly asked whether the district wishes them to represent it in connection with the drafting of such agreement, and if so, to approve and execute a disclosure and consent agreement. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the disclosure and consent agreement enabling district council to represent both districts in the drafting of the CTA with Lynbrook, and be it further resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the cooperative transportation agreement with Lynbrook Union Free School District, and be it further resolved that the President of the Board of Education be and is hereby authorized to execute both the disclosure and consent agreement and the cooperative transportation agreement on behalf of the district. Any questions on agenda item 7C? We have a motion to approve agenda item 7C.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Kilgus,
Second.
second by Mr. DiMatteo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? So moved. 7D, adopt the East Rockaway UFSD Comprehensive District-Wide Safety Plan for the 2020-2021 school year. Members, we've had a chance to review that on the Google Doc. Any questions? I have a motion to approve agenda item 7D. So moved by Ms. O'Hagan.
Second.
Second by Mr. McNally. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? So moved. Approval of agenda item 8. Approval of CSE and CPSE recommendations dated August 11th. That was sent home to all board members. We missed this one from August 11th on my mistake, being new to the job. I promise I'll get better. Any questions on the CSE and CPSE recommendations dated August 11th, 2020? Okay, may I have a motion to approve agenda item 8? So moved by Mr. McNally,
Second.
second by Mr. Kilgus. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? So moved. Agenda item 9. On the recommendation of the superintendent, 9A this is. On the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approves the following budget transfer. Transaction number 21-0003. And that again is the COVID-19 expenses at $15,000. Any questions? We have a motion to approve agenda item number 9.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. DiMatteo, second.
Second.
By Mrs. O'Hagan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? So moved. Policy matters, I'd ask Mrs. O'Hagan to have a report on this.
The policy subcommittee met on Thursday, August 13th. There are 2 policies up for adoption this evening. The first one is 4526, computer use and instruction. Mr. Arouse joined us, the subcommittee, to discuss the updates to this policy and the acceptable use agreement. This has been updated to include language for virtual learning and proper etiquette. The student health and services is the second policy up for adoption. This policy was updated to reflect the current state requirements for immunization, removing references to religious exemptions. We will continue to review the following policies. 5300 Code of Conduct. There are 2 sections of the Code of Conduct that have been updated to reflect new rules due to the pandemic. Student dress code and prohibited student conduct. Pursuant to education law, section 2801, the Code of Conduct policy may be adopted by the school board only after at least 1 public hearing. We will hold this hearing immediately preceding the September 3rd, 2020 special board meeting. And with the board's approval, plan to adopt the Code of Conduct policy at the September 15th meeting. We will also be reviewing information and data privacy security breach, opioid overdose prevention regulation, non-fraternization, and federal funds purchasing. And we have a policies subcommittee meeting scheduled for Wednesday, September 16th at 3:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Hagan. So at this time, I would ask if there are any questions on policy matters on 10B, which is the 4526 computer use and instruction, or 10B2, 5420 student health services. Questions from the board? May I have a motion to approve agenda item 10B, 1 and 2?
So moved.
Ms. McNally,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Kilgus. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Reports. I'd ask Mrs. Ruiz to please present the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Volpez. Good evening, everyone. As you know, we have been very busy continuing to plan for our reentry process to school. Our administrators are now back at work full-time. Not that they really got any vacation, because everybody worked really literally throughout the summer in order to develop our plan. And now, of course, we're in the final stages of implementing all facets of the plan in order to ensure that our school buildings are ready, safe for the return of our students and our staff. I'd just like to thank once again all of our administrators, also Alice Calabrese, Kristen Smith, our nurses who helped us throughout the summer on various aspects of our planning. I'd really like to give a shout out again to Gail Byra and the ERTA Executive Board, as well as the representatives of our other units who gave up their time over the summer and continue to give up their free time volunteering to help us and provide input for the plan. As you know, we have offered a full remote model for families who had particular circumstances and health needs, and we now have closed that application process, and we have approximately 185 students who will be participating in full remote learning. Today, we held a meeting with over 80 of our teachers to talk about that model. Mrs. Heck presented an excellent PowerPoint, which discussed all facets of what that will look like, and we look forward tomorrow night to sending out the link in the late afternoon to those families who will be participating, whose children will be participating in remote learning. And that meeting will take place at 5 o'clock just for those families. So we look forward to sharing more about that plan with you. On our website, we were required by the governor when he made his announcement for schools to reopen that schools would need to develop a testing and tracing plan and protocol. So that has been posted on our website, and basically this document speaks about how we will participate in contact tracing as well as making available testing. The school district will not be requiring students to be tested nor employees to be tested. Parents, I think, have asked about that, especially when you hear about testing and tracing plan. That is not what we're requiring, but we are required to discuss or share with the community and, of course, the governor and the state education department how we will participate. And basically, we will be working closely with the Department of Health should there be any case or potential case of COVID-19. We would work very closely in collaboration with the Department of Health and follow their guidance and work collaboratively with them, depending upon what the circumstances were. I will say that I will be recommending a conservative approach should we have any type of positive case of COVID. And again, the Department of Health may not necessarily tell us exactly what to do, but they will make recommendations which would be discussed with the Board of Education, and then we would really follow that guidance and again, do what's safest for our community. So that would mean closing one school, keeping the school closed, having people quarantined, whatever the particular circumstance would be. There is a flow chart and there is information in the document, but each case could be unique depending upon who the person is and what their level of exposure and contact has been with school personnel. So that document is on our website in English and Spanish if you want to take a look at that. You'll also be receiving a letter shortly about parent health checks from our nurses and our director of athletics and our principal. That will provide you with the CDC checklist, as well as information about how important it is for you as parents to keep your children home when they are sick. It doesn't mean that if a child has a fever, they necessarily have COVID, but we would like you to really be vigilant about keeping sick children home. Of course, the same thing goes for our employees. We don't want people who are ill to be coming to school and possibly contaminating other people. So we will be asking that parents be vigilant about that. And really, if you have any questions, please consult with our school nurse. Again, the CDC did not necessarily recommend that schools do the temperature checks and health checks for children, but that it was adequate for parents to do so at home. So we will be requiring parents to take temperatures of their children before they leave the house and to follow the checklist that will be included in the letter that will be sent home. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, please call your building nurse. You can also call the principal. You can call myself, Mr. Barth, or also the health and safety coordinators for COVID. We're all here to answer your questions, but probably the most appropriate person to call is your doctor, as well as our school nurse, if it relates to your child's health. Recently, over the weekend, I saw a news piece about aerosol spray and how they have now become more aware of how the virus is much more contagious when people are indoors, and that we were looking at the spray that comes out of your mouth when you talk or when you sing, and how that travels about 6 feet, and that's why it is recommended that we have 6 feet social distancing. However, new information seems to reveal that there's a secondary aerosol spray that comes out when you speak out of your mouth, and that can remain in the air for longer periods of time and can also travel further distances. And so we are going to be tightening up our mask policy. We previously said as long as children could be 6 feet socially distanced, the mask could be taken off, but with this new information, we feel that masks should be worn all the time. We will be following the guidance from the state with regard to mask breaks. The teachers and principals will be addressing that directly in their classrooms when those mask breaks will be. Of course, they will take place at lunch when kids are eating, during PE, when they are appropriately socially distanced. And some of the elementary schools, children will be taken outside for those. And in the secondary school, they will be asked to have quiet mask breaks at their desk when they're not speaking, because we want to really use the latest and most, the most important information that's available to guide our decisions. And so we will be, again, tightening that up and ensuring that masks are really worn at all times except for during those breaks. We are in the process of hiring some additional teachers for leaves, as well as monitors, additional monitors we are looking for. If you know anyone that's interested in a monitor position, a teacher aide position, or a cleaner, additional custodial positions we're looking for, that information can be found on our website. So please share that with anyone who you may know is interested in a part-time or a full-time position in those areas. I'm going to ask Mrs. Frio to speak a little bit about what our custodial staff and facilities director and Mrs. Frio herself have been doing to prepare our schools for the opening.
The entire custodial crew, under the direction of Mr. Daly, the facilities director, have been working diligently over the summer to prepare the facilities for the reopening of school. All excess furniture, bookcases, desks, chairs, rocking chairs, etc., have been removed from all buildings and placed in the storage facility to maximize the classroom capacity in accordance with the SED guidelines. We spent many days rearranging furniture, rearranging desks, sitting in desks, looking at each other, measuring, trying to figure out how we could fit the students and the teachers in this classrooms in accordance with the guidelines in the safest possible way. So now we've gone ahead and we've ordered various desk shields and barriers, and the crew has begun to install these and we'll probably continue right up until opening day. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the crew for their dedication and commitment to preparing our facilities for a safe and healthy environment for both our students and our staff. And I do look forward to a successful opening.
Thank you, Mrs. Rio. We have been also planning furiously for our reopening for our teachers. Teachers will report to school on September 2nd and will participate in 3 days of training to help them to prepare for our reentry. So I'm just going to ask Ms. Tech to update everyone on those the planning for those 3 days.
Good evening. We are very excited to see our faculty and staff when they return next week. We have seen them in meetings, but it will be wonderful to see everybody on site, and we're even more excited to see our students when they return the following week. So we have 3 days of staff development prepared in order to ensure that our teachers and faculty and staff throughout the district are well prepared to welcome our students back and to start this very different but new school year. We will be addressing first and foremost our health and safety issues and making sure that everybody is up to speed on all that has been done and all that will be done to ensure everybody's health and safety. And then we will move into social and emotional learning preparation for faculty to ensure that students feel safe and secure as they return. And then we have a number of other activities planned for our faculty that are specifically related to grade levels and content areas, as well as all of the technology implications for synchronous instruction that will be going on in all classrooms at all grade levels. So we have a lot to prepare for, and we're confident that over those 3 days, we will be in a good place to begin the school year with our students on September 8th and 9th.
Thank you, Mrs. Heck. I just wanted to say a few words about the Zoom bomb incident that happened. As you know, I sent something out to the community. Unfortunately, last week we had an incident during one of our parent meetings where we had intruders, I think they're called bad actors, who came into our meeting and unfortunately displayed some very disturbing content. Of course, we were extremely upset about this. It was a very, very unfortunate and awful experience for those in attendance. And again, we apologize to our parents, but it does seem that there's been a slew of these. One happened, I believe, in Oyster Bay recently, one happened in upstate New York. And so we have reported this to the police as well as to Zoom. We did get a response back to Zoom. I just have that on my phone. I'm going to read some of the things here that they do take these things very seriously, and they are taking action and have investigated our report that we made about what had occurred, and they are able to determine, I believe, and Mr. Arouse, can you help me out here, that the intruders were out of the country?
Yeah, like Eastern Europe,
Yeah,
I believe.
which is good in a way that they weren't anyone known to us in our community, but unfortunately they were people that we can't control and seem to be targeting school districts now that schools are using these technologies. I just want to assure you that we have, for our parent meetings, and we do use Zoom for our administrative and parent meetings, we have changed our procedures. We've changed the settings. We've purchased additional accounts so that they are more secure. We have adjusted the settings so that we can have the most secure meetings that are possible to hopefully limit any type of intrusion again. And we also now, as you know, are sending out the Zoom link only via email. We're not posting it on the website. So for instance, tonight, the live stream for the meeting is very different. It's not a Zoom meeting. It's just a live recording of our meeting. And so when you're watching that link is a public link. It's not something anyone can intrude on. However, when we're having a Zoom meeting, and that link is private. So we will ask that parents please not share it. Please don't post it on Facebook, because once it does get out into the World Wide Web, anybody can access it. And so we are also using password protected meetings, and the passwords will be mailed out separately prior to the meeting. We know that this is a little bit more of an inconvenience for you, but we are doing it for the best interest of our school community. I know parents may have had children in the room, and we certainly don't want an incident like that to occur again. We will continue to work with Zoom to investigate this. They will cooperate with the police. Therefore, we'll be back in touch with the 4th Precinct, because they indicated that they would pursue this if they could collaborate with Zoom, and Zoom would provide them with some of the information. Although given that the location of these individuals was in Eastern Europe, it's not likely that they will be able to pursue a meaningful investigation, but we will pass along the information that we received from Zoom in any case. I also want to reassure parents that when school opens, teachers will not be using Zoom in order to hold their remote lessons. Teachers will be using Google Meet, which is a very different platform. It's a closed platform. You must have an ersd.org email account in order to access the link. And those links, again, will be shared internally with students who, again, must access it through their email and through their Google account, their Google Classroom account. And so, there have not been, to my knowledge, Mr. Rouse, to your knowledge, of reported incidents. It's much less likely that there would be any type of an incident in a Google Meet compared to Zoom, which you remember back in the spring, a number of New York City schools had been using Zoom, and they also suspended using that for students, as we did. So the Google Meet platform is much safer and more appropriate for student instruction. And so I just want parents to feel reassured by the steps that we've taken, because we know that our students will be on remote learning much more frequently now that school will open. I want to thank parents for your patience and your support. I was saying to our administrative team this morning that I'm so appreciative that whenever I get an email from a parent, parents have thanked us for our hard work and also recognize all that we've done. And that means the world to all of us, because this has been a difficult task, but we are doing this with the best interest of your children, our school community, and our faculty, and we feel very supported. So thank you to our whole school community. And please keep the questions coming. Our parents have really posed some very thoughtful and helpful questions that helped us to think in different ways and really make sure that we cover all bases. So you know that we are all here for you. Just email your principal, email any of us directly if you feel it's appropriate to our area of supervision. If you have questions about technology, Google Meets, you can certainly email Mr. Rouse. Curriculum, Mrs. Heck. Anything at the building level, please email the chair people or the building administrators or your child's teacher when school opens. Of course, teachers are not yet at work. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Ruiz. Moving on, agenda item number 12, the good and welfare. 12A, condolences to Donna Smith and her family on the passing of her father, John Smith, on August 13th. Also, condolences to Peter Seglio and family on the passing of his father, Frank Seglio, on August 15th. Now it's time for public comments. Mr. McNally, you've been monitoring any
Nobody.
public comments?
Somebody,
Okay, thank you very much. Moving along to board member comments. Who'd like to start this evening? Board member comments. Okay, Mr. McNally.
make it quick. We're all looking forward to school reopening. I know I personally can't wait to get back to school and help my students get back to normalcy. Children everywhere need their routines back. Let's keep our fingers crossed that the infection rate stays down and we can all get back to complete normalcy. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. McNally.
Yeah, like Pete said, I'm excited to see all the hard work that went into our reentry plan finally come to fruition. You guys did a great job. My kids aren't the easiest to go to school, and their supplies came the other day, and it was like Christmas morning. So I hope that translates to the classroom, but it's a sense of normalcy, and I'm just happy that I know it's not full-time, but it's something, and I'm very grateful for that. So thank you, and enjoy the last couple of weeks of the summer. Thank you.
I would just like to thank the parents in the community that have been so involved throughout the reopening process, especially in the virtual building meetings over the last couple of weeks. I recently read the quote, "Accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be." I think this is fitting in the midst of the plethora of emotions we are all feeling at this point in time. I wish all of our teachers, our staff, and our students a smooth as possible and safe return to schools.
Thank you, Ms. Ogier.
So I'm going to leave you with a quote by George Bailey. All you can take with you is that which you've given away. I also believe that that's quite fitting in a setting like this and just in life in general. My hat's off to everyone on this team, board members, administrators, Superintendent Ruiz, an incredible job. Both gentlemen over here said it best. Getting our kids back to normalcy is our number one priority, and the whole team is doing everything they can to make that happen as quickly and safely as possible. So thank you for your support, and have faith and trust that we're doing everything we can to make things happen quickly. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd just like to start off by thanking my fellow board members. One of them made a comment this past week. I didn't know I was signing up for another full-time job. And unfortunately, COVID brought that upon us. But everybody rose into the occasion and really have gone above and beyond in the meeting times and another meeting next week. But we're here to service the community, and we all know that. And I want to thank everybody publicly for that and the time and efforts there. I also want to thank Mrs. Shrio. Today we got the word that we had the 20% reduction in state aid, but she bounces right back and tells us tonight that she secured another transportation contract with Limbrook. So now we have Limbrook and Malvern helping us out with transportation. So that's a savings for us. And every savings we can get really does count that we're moving forward here, and the money's starting to get tight. And hopefully sooner or later, we'll get some help from the federal government. Mrs. Heck, I went over that superintendent's conference day schedule, ambitious schedule. I want to thank you for that. I get tired just looking at it. September, that's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That's 3 days this year that our staff will be back training. Again, dealing with all the COVID-19 changes that have hit us with education and making it better for each and every individual child that enters our buildings. Mr. Rouse, you're constantly, here. I want to thank you again. Your live meetings, you're constantly monitoring that camera, making it go. Even when we're going back And we plan on our next board meeting being in the auditorium, but we will also be live also, so you don't get off the hook that easy. So thank you again for that. And also helping out on policy number 4526, computer use and instruction, which will really tighten up some of our uses during instruction this year. Mrs. Ruiz, I don't know I don't know where you get the energy. I really don't. You're sitting here tonight, and I sort of look and I'm saying to myself, this doesn't look like she's wearing it. She's doing real well. And actually all the administrators, but I guess that comes with teamwork. When you work together and you work as a close unit, you sort of feed off each other. And I know that from athletics, and when you're on a team, you feed off each other and you just keep going and going and going. The additionals, I mean, the teacher aid, the meetings, the cleaners, the custodian appointments just recently, family reentry meetings. I've been on a lot of them, and you're right there, and you're following every question that comes from parents and helping out, especially Mrs. Kelly, our new administrator at Senator Avenue here. Anytime, return to learn policy itself and putting that whole program together with all your central administration and building administrators, that's a huge task. And we were not one of the school systems that got turned back, by the way, by all. So that's a really good thing. Thank you for that. Teacher union meetings, lawyer meetings, the list goes on and on. So I just wanted to take this time tonight to thank the team leader, and the superintendent for a fine job that you're doing, along with all of the personnel that we have in the district to make this reopening really the best it can be in these times, and the best for everybody. So thank you.
Very much.
So if we have no other questions, or we're ready to go, it is now 7:52
So moved.
p.m. Need to adjourn. Mr. McNally, so moved. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gilgis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? So moved. Thank you, everybody.